Artist who most inspired you.
Basquiat.
Last work that blew your mind.
Nothing.
Currently listening to.
Earl Sweatshirt.
Currently avoiding.
Everyone.
Most proud career moment.
PS1. Moment PS1.
What year?
I believe it was 2000 and what year is it now? Like, I don't even know.
2025.
I think it was 2023.
Okay. I wish I would have known.
I wish I would have known that you have to dream bigger.
If you could do it all, you would also have a career as?
A line cook.
Why is that?
Valois.
Valois, for everyone, is a Chicago diner. That is very questionable. Okay, let's move on to degrees. Essential or a hoax?
Oh, hoax.
Why are they a hoax as artists?
Well, it's not necessarily, I wouldn't say it's necessarily a hoax, and a hoax like a big, magic trick, pull the bunny out or severed person. It's a hoax because you pay a lot of money to do what you were always going to do anyway. But then again, that's for me assuming that people have that capability of choosing. So it works for the people who works for, and it doesn't work for me and other people it doesn't work for. I think it's a waste of money. If you're going to study anything, you should study something like the applied sciences, where it's updated every year, but art hasn't been updated since cave painting. So why do you pay money for it?
AI, good, bad, or irrelevant?
Fuck AI.
Okay, why?
Because we should all just drink some Jim Jones grape Kool-Aid and just fucking die. Sorry for everybody who died in Jim Jones shit, but it's mostly black people actually.
But you digress.
Yeah, but I digress. No, but what I'm saying is, it's AI. What is the point of having something? Our lives won't become any easier. The dystopian universe will just happen a lot quicker. It's like what the Industrial Revolution did to humanity. AI. If the Industrial Revolution hobbled humanity, AI is here to completely subjugate it. And, you can't put the genie back in the bottle, so it is going to be what it's going to be. But I do not fuck with AI at any level. I don't even use ChatGPT.
What technologies, if any, do you feel are changing the art industry? Do you see AI creeping up in the industry?
It is. And some people, again, like, if you're a genius, you can use a stick to kill a cow. If you're an idiot, you can use a stick to kill a cow because they give you the instructions and how to do it. So it doesn't really matter. It's technology, of course, is going to advance. But there was a MLK quote, MLK being not milk. It was Martin Luther the King. So when Martin Luther King said, we have guided missiles but misguided men. So technology is only as good as the people who are employing the technology. So then I guess I gotta kind of backtrack a little bit. It's like AI is not terrible, but if you've given up your consciousness for this particular easy way out, then you have to think. I mean, shit. Everybody saw Terminator and Avatar and all this other shit. Don't try to put me on the spot, because you all know what's going to happen. Fifth Element was actually the best. Fifth Element, automated cars, automated everything. Everybody lives in a cell block, basically. And what is the purpose of life? Life is to be lived. And if computers are doing it for you, Dune, the popular film Dune, there's the whole precedent of Dune is that they had AI, it took over the world, and it became sentient, and they had to destroy everything and start all over. So humans, you already know what it's going to do, and it only benefits a small percentage of the population. At first, it'll seem like a dream, but I don't live for me. I mean, I live for me because I'm here now, but I live for the future generations. And I know there's this new thing, like, this is all a simulation. Nobody sees the future, but this is not a simulation. I feel pain.
Right.
If you stab me in my thigh right now, I'll be thinking about Harold's fried chicken and chicken thighs. And then I also feel need to reach out, but then I know I'm gonna get choked out before that happens. But anyway.
But not before salt, pepper, and mild.
Hey, man. Hot, salt, pepper, mild sauce. Yeah. So anyway.
All roads always lead to fried chicken.
I know. It sounds so racist.
It's so racist.
Don't you agree? Don't you agree? No, but I mean, really, I think that, okay, so technology, again, is going to advance, but at what cost?
Yeah.
Because we've seen it already with the Industrial Revolution. Even if you think about the Agrarian Revolution during the ancient civilization of Sumer. So we know what it is, but people disregard history at every moment that it becomes disadvantageous to their bottom line.
What jobs were you doing while still pursuing your work?
I sold hookahs before 9/11. Then that all went down because all the hookahs came from Egypt. I also I sold belt buckles. I sold T-shirts. I worked at a call center. Worked at a coffee shop. I thought I was going to be a barista. Never made it that high. I made pesto sandwiches. I learned how to make pesto. I learned how to make hummus.
When did you quit doing side gigs? At what point?
2006.
But what point in your career was it that, like, did you have to make a certain amount of money?
No, I just, I have a partner. I have a wife. I decided that if I didn't give it my all, then I would never make it. Because as long as you're hedging your bets on something else to work out, as long as you're wasting 50% of the time that you can be doing what you're going to do. So I did the John Henry. I call it the John Henry. And the John Henry is a very tragic story for the people who don't know about John Henry. But what he did, he was like, hey, look, I can beat this machine because it's going to eventually take our jobs. Going back to the AI. So what John Henry did is he gave it his all, and he won, but he dropped dead at the end. So you make a choice. You make a choice. But it's always good to always have someone in your corner. Like, never try to do it alone unless you're a Piscean. And then that's going to work out the way it's going to work out.
Do you feel like there are a lot of successful artists who still have side gigs in this economy?
I mean, most of these, no, not successful artists. Artists who have side gigs, yes.
But you feel like once people reach your level, they're not still hustling?
Well, you're always hustling because the game is a game.
Right.
You know, I think I took that from The Wire, so I like to give them credit. But the game is a game. Like, you're always hustling. So if you're hustling backwards or you're hustling forwards, I'm always trying to hustle as forward as I can because it's not perfect. You know, like the market goes up, the market goes down. But by that time, you should have made enough connections in what you're doing to never have to regress. And so I tell people this all the time. I was like, hey, look, man, if you're at a point of regression, that means you haven't thought this out very well.
What or who should people be looking to who are artists
Me.
to put on?
You know what I'm saying? Because I put people on every day. No, don't look to me.
No, like what?
I already have
real
a
talk. Let's say there's an emerging artist. Like what or who should they be trying to get close to, next to?
I don't know. I mean, well, that is a very precarious situation in and of itself. But I've been blessed to have the opportunity to meet people like Rashid Johnson earlier on. The collectors that really love your work, they will always work for you because they've already invested in you because they like what you do. Not the top tier galleries because they just want to just make money, but talk to some of the mid tier to lower tier galleries, people who do it for the love, and really ultimately we all do it for the love, but we also do it for the money because without the money we can't function. So that's why I'm not one of these artists. I'm like, I'm anti-capitalist. Like, dude, are you selling paintings to broke people? Absolutely not. You are selling paintings to people who are middle class and above. So just dislocate that from your vocabulary. I mean, capitalism in and of itself, you want to have a conversation about systems, human systems that work or don't work, then that's, you can have that conversation. But I always counter with this. I was like, do you pay somebody rent? Do you buy groceries? Capitalism isn't your enemy. It's the enemy that has been programmed into you to get you to stop being a go-getter. You don't have to be cruel. You can take, that's what I did. I took all my money and I gave it to everyone who needed it. Anybody who asked me for money, I will not do that now because I realized that was a terrible mistake. What I'm saying is, people speak and they don't even know where they're speaking from. They speak from different places. The world hasn't changed. I do work about colonialism and history, and I study history, and I have a wealth of books, and I source a wealth of sources. And the reason why the world hasn't changed is because humanity hasn't changed. And until humanity changes, the world won't change, because humanity will continue to create systems to make things palpable to their bottom line. And there's nothing wrong with that because somebody has to do it. So then that one person that's gonna, or that myriad of people who are gonna change the world will have the resources. They won't be like eating, these people who will change the world won't be eating gruel with mixed berries and a bit of rabbit flesh to survive. What will happen ultimately is one day this will be unsustainable, and then people will have to move on eventually. Polar bears still hunt the same way they did since inception. What I'm saying is, like, we human beings, we waste a lot of time on being non-progressive. And so within the arts, hey, look, however way you did it, if you didn't hurt anybody on your way up there, it's okay. Well, that you know of, because you always hurt someone. Even walking to your house, from your car to your house, you'll step on at least 15 ants. You don't know what you do because you're not thinking about it. And if you thought about it, you'll be a Jane. And I'm not disrespecting Janes, but I'm just saying, like, they consider all microbes and all these things. There are people who have thought about this. I'm not the first person who said this. Their whole entire religion is dedicated to being aware of every microscopic aspect of the universe. However, you have to do you, and you have to get there, and you have to make it good. And there are a lot of people who are untrustworthy and don't trust everybody you see. Look into their eyes. You can see a person's soul through the eyes, because the eyes are the window to the soul. There's a reason why these maxims exist in our lexicon. Because you can tell somebody who's shady right off the bat. And if you can't, then you deserve whatever you got.
Your thoughts on work-life balance. What works and doesn't work for an artist's practice?
Okay. Again, given the John Henry model, I just go all in. But I do take a break. Like I go, touch grass or whatever the young kids are saying now. I go and put my feet on grass. I ground myself. I'll, take a trip that, isn't related to work. Or if it's related to work, I'll make sure that I make time to go out and do something else. But what doesn't work is apathy. Apathy never works. Apathy is the new gray. Shout out to my friend Micah James who said that. But what it really is, just, putting your best foot forward. Don't go to that party if you haven't completed what you were supposed to complete.
Discipline.
Yeah, discipline. You don't have to okay, so pride, you can get rid of pride, but have integrity. You want to go to a party? Go, but after you finish your work.
What about a party where there's going to be major people in the art world?
See, major people,
Who cares?
that's a game of dice.
Right.
Because people only respect you when you have a product to sell that it is good. Like people, if you got say you came up with a different, a collagen beauty supply. They don't want 50% of the ingredients. They want to see the finished product and then they'll see it work. So not only do you have to do the work, you have to make sure that the work is the best work you put out. I mean, sometimes you're not always going to be able to do this, but I'm saying initially. I'm talking about the starters, the people who are starting now. Like, not talking about the people who are already around, because, they're going to get lazy. They're going to be in Vail, or they're going to be in Trieste or whatever, Lagos, all these different places. Cape Town, party over work. If you're doing if this is your project that you're working on, always do the work first. Those same people, the positions that those people hold will never end. The people might not be there, but what they represent will always be there. So you don't have to go to that party because it'll be a person with a different face, but occupying the same position.
My final question is, what is your prediction of where the art industry will be in 5 years?
The art world doesn't really change as much as you think it does. The art world changes in a sense that, okay, you can't just make a big picture of a face and be cool. And okay, 1 year we did black people. 1 year we did people from the Arab world or the quote unquote Middle East, which is ridiculous because Africa and Europe is not a continent at all. Asia, Africa, and Europe are all connected by land. Anyway, the art world, but they're talking about regionally. They always try. Well, they're the ubiquitous that run and control everything. But what happens is what I see is that people will always find something that they didn't know about before, and they'll try to sell that aspect of it. So while it might seem like the whole market right now currently is down, somebody still, there are many collectors that are still buying art. There are many institutions that are still supporting arts. So whether you have no matter what form of government you have in place, people are always going to be people. And so there's always going to be a way to do things. But in 5 years would be difficult to say. I would say it would be a lot better than this year and the year previous. But I just think, again, just be original. Talk to your elders. You don't necessarily have to go to school. Although I do not disadvocate going to get a higher degree because at least you can teach. But if you teach and you're a fool, then who wants to be taught by a fool? So there are certain things you're going to have to learn the hard way. So it's almost like it's the equivalent of backpacking through Europe after you graduate high school. It's the same equivalent. See the world for what it is and what you decide to make of that world, then create it. And it's going to be a myriad of different ways that people see how to create it, but you have to see it first before you can think about learning what some other miserable person learned and is passing on to you.
What particular tools are needed for folks from historically marginalized groups in the art industry?
Okay, people of color.
Or just marginalized folks in general in your industry, because that could be...
Well, marginalized is different because if you're white, it's not necessarily being a person of color.
Correct. Who's marginalized to you?
Oh,
in the art world.
Well,
because that's basically what you're describing here. Like,
yeah.
who is othered in the art world?
Everyone that's not white.
Okay.
Pretty much. Well, everything that's not considered white. Because you can be like, still you can be like Portuguese, Spanish, because they have like this history. Again, I study history. Those things change because those are apparatuses that people have created. So everything that is marginalized in the art world is everyone who is non-white. And that's just the simple truth of it. But the thing is you also don't have to live through your pain. You don't have to teach your pain. It's like this is what in the past, since when COVID happened, the black art movement was really booming. What really found it, it was like the George Floyd murder, Breonna Taylor. And so you have these people who get murdered, but you and I, being from Chicago, we know this happens all the time, and there was never any movement. But fear motivates the people, the prime movers, so to speak, the people who present themselves as the prime movers, the people who influence society. So they were like, well, hey, look, all right, we're gonna cut off white people for a while. We're gonna focus on black art. And I remember being here, being in Nigeria, being in Sharjah, and traveling. And I would talk to black artists, and I would say, hey, look, man, you guys are not all gonna be Amoako Boafo. You guys are not all gonna be Ibrahim Muhammad. So take this opportunity while the world is listening, because it'll be somebody else next year, because that's the way. Again, I never use the term white supremacy because white people are not supreme. They're just clever in a different way. So what I say is, but right now we are living under the illusion of white rule, and thus you have to live under the reality of your own life. You can't allow this to cancel this. You can't allow this to overcome this, because everything is balanced. At the end of the day, no matter what happens, no matter what you want to say, everything is always balanced. Nothing changes. If you want to get there, just be honest with yourself. Don't lie. Don't lie, be honest, but then travel the world, go forth and see the world, see all the cultures, see all the people, even the people you don't like. Don't go places where you definitely gonna get murked, but go places where the chance of getting murked is about 20%. Because to live and die in LA,